Edward, welcome back, everyone. A top general is saying Google is working with China at the expense of U.S. security. To Edward Lawrence with the latest on all of this. What's going on, Edward?
Yeah, Neil, the top general, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Joseph Dunford, says he will be meeting with Google executives next week about concerns with Google's work in China. Now, he told the audience at the Atlantic Council this goes directly to the competitive advantage for our military around the world because stealing that technology from Google gives China a direct line to benefit their military.
If a company does business in China, they are automatically going to be required to have a cell of the Communist Party in that company. And that is going to lead to that intellectual property from that company finding its way to the Chinese military.
And specifically, his concerns with Google's artificial intelligence work in China will end up helping the Chinese military. Now, Google says it only works with education in China, specifically kindergarten through college. Last year, the company canceled a contract with the Department of Defense because employees raised concerns about working with the military. But a Google spokesperson pushing back, saying, quote, "We are not working with the Chinese military. We are working with the U.S. government, including the Department of Defense in many areas, including cybersecurity, recruiting, and healthcare." And the chairman of the Joint Chiefs says that he's not going to try and single out Google, but he wants all technology companies like Microsoft and Amazon to be aware that their work could fall in the hands of the Chinese military. Neil?
All right, Edward, thank you very, very much. So do we have any recourse against Google if it is, in fact, doing this? As Edward pointed out, Google says it is not. Former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense under President Bush, 43, Peter Brookes. Peter, first of all, what do you make of this dust-up here? I guess it's more than a dust-up.
Well, from a national security perspective, I'm really concerned, Neil. I mean, this is not a top general. This is the top general in the U.S. military, General Dunford. And he said that they're indirectly helping the People's Liberation Army, which is the collective name for the Chinese military, who is a peer competitor of the United States. He also said it's undermining our military advantage. I mean, there's a lot of times we may come up against China militarily. We hope not, but it could be on the Korean Peninsula. It could be in the Taiwan Strait. See what they're doing in the South China Sea. And China's developing a military that wants to be as capable or more capable than the U.S. military. So if he has concerns, and he probably knows things that we don't know, I think there needs to be much more spotlight placed on this, especially by the Congress in hearings.
You know what, I've got you here, Peter, this latest report out of the White House. The president wanted the point. He says the media refuses to report this progress on ISIS, so he brings a little map to show how ISIS has shrunk to the point of being gone. Do you buy that?
I mean, ISIS is in trouble. ISIS is in crisis. There's no question. And, of course, we've taken back all of that territory from where they were a few years ago. And the president can take a tremendous amount of credit for that. But the fight is still going to go on. We're worried that some of these ISIS fighters will try to blend into the populations and try to reform like they did in Iraq after our surge there. Al-Qaeda in Iraq became ISIS in Syria and Iraq. So we still have challenges. The terrorism threat has not gone away, and we need to be vigilant about it and making sure that we continue to tamp it down.
Peter, is it your sense that the president feels that he gets second-guessed when he second-guesses his generals and the back and forth on that? His argument with, for example, taking troops out of Syria and all of that was that, you know, after a couple of decades, now's the time. But there's always this nasty back and forth. He had a similar argument against the Federal Reserve. He's questioned taking on the Federal Reserve. Lo and behold, it turns out that it does look like the Federal Reserve overdid on rate hikes, so the president says I was proven right on that. I'm just paraphrasing. But this back and forth with powers that be, it's a theme for the White House. One, it says where the president says, I'm right in the end, and they know it. They just won't admit it. What do you think?
Well, he's the commander-in-chief on national security issues, but I think a healthy debate is good. It doesn't have to take place in public. It certainly should take place, I think, behind closed doors in interagency meetings. And it's very important that the president, as commander-in-chief, hear the views of his military commanders, his intelligence community, his State Department, and other elements of the national security and foreign policy establishment, and then make those decisions. Now, we're outside of government. We can't see that. But right. I think a debate is good and important. We should question assumptions. And we should see how the best way to go forward and what best practices we can implement in protecting and advancing our national security.
That was a very diplomatic answer, which explains why you were so good at your job. Peter Brookes, always a pleasure, my friend.
Thank you.
Have a great weekend, Peter.